Okay, so the returns that we heard that people who invested in mobile home parks were making was astounding. It was actually somebody from the Northeast who happened to know some family members of my wife's. And he was chasing mobile home parks in a really fast turnaround in the oil and gas industry out in West Texas, making the range of 40, 50% annualized ROI. And we thought, okay, that sounds pretty good. It's better than what we'd experienced in the single family fix and flip world. So we thought about that and we came to realize that you don't sell the land, you rent the land. In essence, a mobile home park is a parking lot for a mobile home. And the beauty of a mobile home for someone, it is truly affordable.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, John Kucewicz, is a mobile home park investor who invests in mobile home parks throughout the country. He's based out of New Braunfels, Texas, with his wife, Sharon. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dylan. It's great to be here this morning.
Great to have you on here. Mobile home parks. I love talking mobile homes, but before we hop into mobile home parks, I want to ask you how you got started in real estate as a whole. How'd you get started?
Well, interestingly, as a youth, my father was a real estate broker up in the Northeast, and I didn't understand landlord friendly versus unlandlord friendly. My dad encouraged me to get my license at the age of 18, which I did. I didn't do much with it. And I saw my dad attempted to do a 6-family house, and that was hard times, but it always stuck in the back of my mind that real estate really has legs. And by accident, I guess you can say, I bought some land that I thought I would build a house on at one point in time. I flipped it, I made a profit, bought another one, flipped it, made a profit. And then some layoffs came in my industry, and I decided, I need to do something in between the time that it takes me to get a new job in the oil and gas industry. And we got a plan. We first heard about real estate through a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure a lot of people know about that.
Yeah.
And we paid for courses over the course of, I think it was 2 years or more, the equivalent in today's dollar of over $100,000. So we caught the vision during a layoff, reading that Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and thought, okay, we're going to give this a shot. So my wife and I decided we're going to try to do one of each and every thing that we were taught. The only thing we didn't do was international land development. We did go down to Costa Rica to look at land development. Came close, but it wasn't quite for us. The good news for me is when I got laid off, I came away with $600,000. This is right after the crash in 2008, 209.
Yep.
So we had some money to fall back on, and we spent a lot of it on learning about real estate and then buying real estate. And then finally figuring out, eventually you run out of your own money and you have to learn how to syndicate. right? You have to learn how to syndicate. So I
Right.
went for class to learn how to legally raise money. And one other important thing here, I mentioned to you off air that my wife is my partner. And I know that when my wife gets excited about something, I'm going to catch onto her train. I am not going to dampen her excitement. And she said, let's do mobile home parks. And I said, okay, I'm going to catch on to your energy. And we've been doing that since 2013.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Mobile home parks. So different asset class, right? Because especially as a realtor myself, mobile home parks aren't always considered real estate, even though when we think about a place that you live, they are definitely a segment of housing, but they need to be affixed to the ground on foundation. So there's reasons why, they're a different segment in many cases. What was the draw? What was the excitement that really captured you and your wife?
Okay, so the returns that we heard that people who invested in mobile home parks were making was astounding. It was actually somebody from the Northeast who happened to know some family members of my wife's. And he was chasing mobile home parks in a really fast turnaround in the oil and gas industry out in West Texas, making on the range of 40, 50% annualized ROI. And we thought, okay, that sounds pretty good. It's better than what we'd experienced in the single family fix and flip world. So we thought about that and we came to realize that you don't sell the land, you rent the land. In essence, a mobile home park is a parking lot for a mobile home. And the beauty of a mobile home for someone, it is truly affordable real estate. We talk about affordability, we talk about the unattainability for first time homes for home buyers. It's truly affordable. And my wife and I, amazingly enough, we have sold mobile homes for as little as $1. And that's a whole nother conversation. We can go into it, but a typical mobile home, a really beautiful one that's got granite countertops, all of that, a single wide, nice single wide, $80,000, $90,000. And people can afford that, even if they're two wage earners that are just making a little bit more than minimum wage. So we feel really good about providing truly affordable housing. I grew up in a house that was a cold water flat. We heated the house in a coal stove. And my job as a kid was to empty the coal ashes out into the yard. It was a mess. My dad taught me how to use tools. So if you can think about me learning how to use tools and rewire the house, I started rehabbing at the age of 7 with
Yeah.
my dad. So even though eventually I went into the oil and gas industry as a geologist, so we like that. It feels good to be the landowner. It feels good to provide really good quality housing that's affordable to a segment of the population that has a really hard time finding a fixed home on the ground. And they can use that as a
Yeah.
step up to a regular stick-built home.
And this, alternative housing segment is sorely needed because even in places like Texas, where the home prices are not as much as the East Coast, where I'm at right now and where you grew up, it's still not, super easy to get into a home, especially, post 2007, 2008 crash and change in regulations. So there's still a huge swath of the population, especially younger population, who are what I would call, renters by necessity. So it's not like they're goal is to be renting, and they may have a nice place, but they feel in many ways locked out of home ownership. But in having a mobile home, that is kind of that on ramp. You're beginning to see, an end path there, or an end goal there. I want to pivot a bit here, John, and ask you about acquisition in the mobile home park space. So we were talking before hopping on the show here. It's not like they're building new mobile home parks all over the place, although I know you're actually in the process of building one. How are most folks, and how are you and your wife acquiring these mobile home parks?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Our first one came from a LoopNet ad. We had attempted to reach out to brokers who specialize in mobile home parks, didn't hear from any of them. Finally went to LoopNet, where there's a saying that LoopNet is a place where deals go to die. And we did buy our first one, and we built a relationship with the broker. It was a small park. It had 24 lots in it. And that broker, after they knew we could close, brought us another one, and then a third one, and then a fourth one, and also introduced us to this project that's a to-be-built mobile home park. So you build these relationships with the brokers, and then once they know that you can close, they put you on their A list, and you get references, you get emails, you get listings
Right.
from them once they know your business. Somebody starting out that would need somebody like my wife and I to be able to be either key principals with them or sponsors, because they know we have the experience to get it done.
Now, when we talk about people who are selling mobile home parks, such a cash flow heavy asset, is I imagine there's tons of interest in those mobile home parks. What would cause a mobile home park to sit for so long if the cash flow is so heavy?
They get old. Now, I don't know if you know how old I am or if I told you, but I go back several years. I'm at an age now where I don't have to do this if I don't want to. I'm at an age where I've had to be taking my required minimum distributions from my IRA for several years now. But people get tired, and mom and pops who have lived in the park for years, and they hear the hard luck stories from the tenants who can't pay their rent or don't want to pay their rent. They get worn out and they get behind, and they don't say you either pay or you can't stay. So my wife and I started out being kind of soft-hearted. My wife is she's a retired RN, although she still keeps her RN.
Hmm.
And we want to fix people. We want to help people. So these older people who maybe had mobile home parks for 40 years and don't keep the revenue up, they don't raise their rents to market rent, they're starting to get really tired and really worn out. And it's those individuals who we find are the best individuals to work with to negotiate and buy their park. And of course, the brokers are good at this too. They understand the difficulties that mom and pops have. Sometimes there are people who own parks, they're out of state and they haven't done a good job keeping them up. They've let the houses fall apart. And we have to bring in a lot of capital in order to fix roads, to take out problem trees, to rehab the homes.
Right.
So it does take a big push in the beginning to have a good capital stack to do the upgrades that are needed to bring
Sure,
the
sure.
park up to, yeah.
Do you have any guidance for folks who are looking at mobile home parks as far as raising the capital? We talked about syndication and how you really educated yourself on the syndication process. But when you're comparing mobile home parks to self storage, to multifamily, to single family, mobile home is different, right? So I'm imagining, when you're broaching the subject of investing in mobile home parks, it's a different conversation.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
It is. And initially, my wife and I developed our own spreadsheet in order to determine whether the metrics would work for a mobile home park. There are a lot of different parts to that. Even comparing to an apartment building, you have differences because you sometimes own the homes rather than just simply renting them. So the advice that I would give is you connect with somebody who's already done it, right? And you find somebody who's got a track record of being successful to their investors. You learn about syndication because there are things you can say, there are things you cannot say. It depends on your audience. And if you say the wrong things, you can end up in a lot of trouble, potentially go to jail. You don't want to ever have that to happen. So you need to find out what are all the pieces that make a mobile home park deal work. And personally, my wife and I teach now. We're part of a group of about 4,000 people. We teach mobile home parks. Other people within the network that we belong to teach other asset classes in commercial real estate. We personally work with the individuals who join that group on a 2, 3, 4 times a week with calls specifically to train them, bring them along, teach them what they need to look for, and then potentially partner up with us, or we partner up with them to help them acquire their first mobile home park. Now, we also learn from other individuals who own over 5,000 mobile home lots around the country. We
Yeah, that'll
still
do
can
it.
learn, we still can learn. So we go to networking events. We find out who's doing what's the secret sauce to their success. That's really important. Education is absolutely key, even after you've been doing something for a while. Always keep learning.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, if you're not learning, eventually something's gonna catch up with you. I think there's in the greater real estate landscape as a whole, we're starting to see that if you're not on the AI train, it's gonna catch up with you, even if you don't like it. I know there's a lot of people right now that are saying, "Well, I just want to talk to a human," right? But I'll tell you, some of the AI is human like. I do want to pivot though here, John, and ask you about what the hangups or obstacles are in mobile home park ownership. What things should people avoid? How can you run a mobile home park more efficiently and effectively?
Okay, so pitfalls potentially are if you have a septic system for your park, a drain field, and or you own the water supply, there are special requirements and expertise that you need to know what it takes to run those systems that are going to be licensed and regulated. We started out with our first 2 or 3 parks that had septic systems, pump systems, water systems, and it's complicated. I initially thought, oh, no problem, because I have a degree in hydrogeology. I can understand the mineral chemistry of the water. But there's always things that, unless you work with somebody who's done that before, stay away from them. If you're going to be a first-time mobile home park dealer, don't get a park that's got a lagoon. You might take a park that has what's called a sewage treatment plant or package plant that's with it, but I would not recommend that for a first-time mobile home park buyer. You're going to find individuals also who are going to resist or not like rent raises, right? And
Sure.
it's a people project. You have to know how to work with people, and you need to be good to them, right? If you're going to raise the rent, make sure you provide something for them. One park that we bought a year ago, October, we just put in a brand new playground. The kids had no place to play. They were, riding around on their bikes and things in the street. That's not particularly safe. So you always want to improve the neighborhood. All right. So you have to have the capital to do that. Landlord friendly states. We talked about that. What are the landlord tenant laws? Make sure you know what they are. And there are a lot of costs associated. When you own a park, typically you're going to own all of the water lines, all of the sewer lines. You may have a pump station that pumps the sewage back up into the city sewer. You got to understand that type of mechanical issue, or hire somebody. And if you're going to own a park out of the state and you're not around there, you need to make sure you have a team on the ground that you can trust, your park
Yeah.
manager,
Yeah.
maintenance team, and be prepared to change them, because sometimes they'll be great for a long period of time and sometimes they'll begin to let you down, and you have to be prepared to have backup. So I think the hardest job for a mobile home park owner, if you're the asset manager. Now, it turns out that my wife and I did it all. We were the asset manager, we're the syndicator, but now in our process, we're starting to have other individuals who'd like to take on those roles, making it a little bit easier for us so that we can travel 4 or 5 times a year on cruise ships. So I don't mind saying that when you do it right, when you do real estate right, you get to have a lot of time with your family, your loved ones, your friends. But those are some of the key things that I would mention for somebody just getting in to the mobile home park business.
They aren't making any more mobile home parks. There's not too many going up. What is the reason for that?
Well, because you own the land and it's not like real estate, your taxes are much lower, right? We pay taxes on the land, but not on the mobile homes. The mobile homes are considered automobiles, if you will. And so if you think about what does it cost to register your car, or pay taxes on a vehicle on a yearly basis, it's lower. So those municipalities make far less income. And if you have a mobile home that has, let's say, an average of 2 kids per home, right? And they go to the schools, and school taxes are relatively low in terms of collections from the park, they don't like that so much. And then there's a bad rap about trailer parks.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is some park owners have let their parks go. They've let the roads go. They haven't encouraged their residents to keep their homes in good shape, painted, their driveways taken care of. And so the trailer park mindset, drug dealers and problem people, you avoid that and in our business by doing a very good background check on the individuals, and you become highly selective on who you let into that park. We do what's called transforming the culture of the people who live in the park, and that's a process. It might take 2 to 3 years before you've done that, where people have pride of ownership. And when you look down that road, it's a beautiful road. The trailers are all painted, they're new, they're taken care of. One of our parks, we actually have people who have Teslas in, you know, and probably they can afford their Teslas and their charging stations because it doesn't cost them that much to live in a
Wow.
mobile home, own their home, and pay the ground rent. So
Hey, we were talking about it earlier. It's, critical that people have alternative housing and, an on-ramp into home ownership, and mobile homes is one of the ways that they can do that. Tesla's is interesting in the mobile home park. I want to ask you specifically about this idea of distress and, dilapidated mobile home parks. When we think of investment properties, right, typically when things become distressed, there are more offers, there's more interest, and we're seeing that in the mobile home park space. But it did, for it seems like decades, have this reputation of distress, of, not necessarily the most desirable places to live. How were the investors themselves, the mobile home park investors, letting these properties become so distressed? Was it was handed down to them from the family? Was it they got in as maybe a smaller mobile home park and then it expanded and then it became maybe unmanageable? Why was there so much distress in this space?
Most of the time it's because the park owners did not keep pace with rent raises. That's the key. That's where oftentimes the rents we see are 100%, well, 50% below market value. We have parks where the rents are in the $250 a month range, where really the market allows them to be in the $400 a month range or $500 a month range. Here where I live in the New Braunfels area, it's at $600 a month range if you can find the space to put your mobile home. Now, when a home becomes so dilapidated, let's say it's even a pre-HUD housing and urban development model, sometimes you have to demolish them, have
Yep.
them taken down, right? And then you look for replacement. And what my wife and I have done, we've gotten dealer licenses so we can deal directly with manufacturers and bring in a brand new home as long as the market allows for the sale, affordability again, of a brand new home to an end buyer. And an end buyer wants to buy a brand new home if they see that that park is improving, that the roads are in good shape, the lawns are trimmed, trees are taken care of so they're not going to fall down and crush somebody's car or the roof on their mobile home. Um, so it does take capital. And if somebody's been a mom and pop and they haven't kept up with maintenance, right, then it's a problem. So you got to keep on managing the expenses, right? Forecasting them properly. Pro formas are key. So many of your listeners, I'm sure, know what a pro forma is. You have to stress test your pro forma for higher interest rates because most of the time you're going to have a 5-year balloon note
That's
with
right.
your right with your commercial real estate. So you have to forecast it. What if the interest rate doubled, right? Can you still give your investor a return? What if it goes down pretty quickly? Can you do a refinance and cash out, which we have done and got the majority of our investors money back to them even before we sold the park. And they love that because the remaining capital in that deal gives them incredible returns, 60% annualized on the remaining money,
Yeah.
oftentimes. Now, is it harder to find these kind of deals these days? Yes, it takes a lot more work.
I've heard a little bit about this. These days it is more challenging, but I've also heard that, 6 years ago or longer ago that people were projecting 5-year returns and getting, 2-year returns. And as an investor, you love to hear that. But it's a different space right now, and not just in mobile home parks, in practically every segment of real estate. So the good syndicators, the good operators are really savvy because they've had to navigate arm rate loans that have gone up and markets that have been challenging where it's tougher to be a seller right now in many cases. We are coming up on time here though, John. Where can folks go if maybe they're interested in investing in mobile home parks? How can they reach out to you and your team? How can our audience get a hold of you?
Okay, so the easiest way is through my email address, which is John, John, at panoramafund.com. So that's PANORAMAFUND.com, John at panoramafund.com. And then I'm also part of a group that's called Massive Masters, 4,000 people or more. We belong to a group of REIAs that are the largest in Texas. I'd be happy to share that with individuals. If you want to take individual training, there's a way we can do that. But I'd be happy to speak to people and make time for you. We do have one website. Amazingly enough, Dylan, we have been able to be successful without even having a functional website up until about a year ago. And that website is trmhc.com. investorfuel.com, I believe. I don't even look at it. My wife got it set up. But you can try that. I'm going to try that actually after we get off the call.
John, it was great to meet you, and thank you so much for coming on the show today.
My absolute pleasure. You have a great day, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.